Hi, welcome to the next video on AutoCADer channel where I'll show you trim extend commands and how to use them effectively. Both allows to either shorten or lengthen particular part of an object to the edge of different object. Let's start from trim. Trim command is available on the Home ribbon tab under Modify panel. You can also type trim on AutoCAD command line or set up keyboard shortcut if you're using this command often. Take a look on these three polylines. Let's say you want to shorten piece of green one to the red one. So, call up trim commands. Now, AutoCAD will ask you to select objects to the edge of which you want to trim another objects. These are named cutting edges. So, click on red polyline. Confirm your choice by Enter space or right mouse button. Now, select objects which you want to trim. Once you remove cursor on that object, you will see how it will look after trimming. Parts which will be trim deleted will highlight on gray. Confirm your choice by just clicking on selected part of an object. After that, you can continue trimming objects in relation to the same cutting edge, or you can end command by hitting Enter space, Escape or right mouse button. Once you call up trim command and select cutting edges, you can see a few additional options available on AutoCAD command line. I'm gonna briefly go through them now. First option is named Fence. It allows you to select objects which you want to trim by drawing a polyline which is crossing that object. This option is helpful in case of more complicated drawings. Next option available is Crossing. This option allows to select objects to trim by drawing a rectangular area defined by 2 points. This is also possible without actually selecting this option. Project specifies projection methods of trimmed objects. It is used only if trimmed objects are on the 3D space, so it can be used for either 3D modeling or if lines being part of trimmed objects are non-coplanar. Take a look on these two lines as an example. Yellow line is a standard 2D line. Z value of start and end point are 0. White line is 3D line. Z value of starting point is 0 but ending point is 3000 units. So, on the front view, these polylines looks like that. Alright, let's get back to the top view and call up trim command. And select yellow line as your cutting edge. After that, select project option. Then you will have to choose one of three additional options. First and default one is None. It just means that objects will be trimmed only if these are coplanar. So if we would like now to trim white line to the yellow line, as you can see, it will not happen. AutoCAD will return message that these lines are non-coplanar and not crossing. But if we select UCS option instead, objects which are non-coplanar will be projected onto XY plane and trimmed. So selecting these options will allow to trim these lines just like coplanar. Last option available is View. This allows to trim lines according to current view direction. So if we rotate the model space to 3D view and select View Projection option, lines will be trimmed just the way we can see them on the screen. If we now get back to standard top view, you can see that these lines do not intersect anymore. Next option on trim command is Edge. And you have two additional options to choose: Extend and Do Not Extend. Basically, this option allows us to choose whether objects will be trimmed only where it directly intersects with cutting edge or where it intersects with extension of cutting edge. Let's take a look on example. Call up trim command and let's select this blue polyline as your cutting edge. We want to trim green polyline. As you can see, by default, green polyline would be trimmed completely from the point of intersection with the blue polyline. But if you will go to Edge option and select Extend, now you can see that green line would be trimmed not from the point of direct intersection with blue one, but from the point where extension of blue polyline hits green one. Last two options available are Erase and Undo. Erase allows to remove objects without leaving trim command. Undo reverses the last change made by trim command. So, as you can see, trim command offers more options that you would probably expect. So now it's time to extend command. It works completely opposite to trim, as in lengthen objects in relation to different objects. Extend command is available on Home ribbon tab under Modify panel. You can also type extend on AutoCAD command line or set up keyboard shortcut. So let's call up extend command. First, AutoCAD will ask you to select the boundary edges to which you want to extend the other object. Click on requested boundary edge and confirm your choice by clicking Enter, space or right mouse button. Now AutoCAD asking you to select objects which you want to extend to selected earlier boundary. Similar to trim, once you will move your cursor on that object, you will see how it will be changed. Click on requested object to extend it. And similar as on the trim, you can now either extend next objects or close command by either Enter, space, Escape or right mouse button. Extend command offers the same additional options as trim command, so I would not be going second time through them. In both commands you can select multiple objects to be your cutting and boundary edges. Also, if you are one of these commands and you will hold Shift button, commands will be switched from trim to extend or from extend to trim. Remember that it's always better to use these commands rather than manipulating object grips manually, as this increases risk of potential mistakes. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like and comment. Also visit my Facebook and Twitter pages where I'll be posting AutoCAD quick tips. Thanks and see you around.